Welcome back to another episode of Siriusly Caffeinated. My name is John Rogers, and we are joined by some very special guests today. We are joined by a company named after a great New Hampshire mountain called the Kinsmen Mountains, I think so. I haven't hiked it yet, but it is supposed to represent their deepest friendship, and it is supposed to be the thing that combines them to their home state of New Hampshire. I think you guys are both from New Hampshire, but it is Kinsmen Sound Studio's Will Jones, co-founder, and Brandon Keogan. Is that how you pronounce it, Brandon?
That's it.
That's it. Fantastic. Welcome, gents, to Siriusly Caffeinated. Welcome. What are you guys drinking today?
I've had like 5 cups of coffee today, so this is tea. This is ginger tea.
Fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually not on coffee this year. I also am usually doing tea as well. There's nothing wrong with tea. And what about you, William Jones? What are you drinking?
In a similar note, I've got water. I already drank my 2 allotted cups of coffee.
Oh, yeah. Now that you're getting married, I guess you're kept on a tight leash, huh?
Yeah, I can't get in those extra calories or else, I'm going to balloon. Those caffeine calories.
The caffeine calories, yes.
This man has never ballooned in his life.
Yes. I have never known Will to look more than, very slim.
110 pounds.
Yes. Well, this isn't a cheat, but, I didn't have any tea, I realized, and I'm off coffee right now. So, my girlfriend Avery was nice enough to give me a Celsius, which she is absolutely obsessed with since she discovered it. So I'm gonna be having Celsius, which is like a really healthy alternative to most energy drinks, I suppose.
Yeah.
And so I'm drinking it out of my Sirius AI mug. So yeah, well, welcome Kinsmen Sound Studio. So super excited to have you guys on today. So season 1 was all about following the creative process of Sirius AI, a post-apocalyptic musical, talking to voice actors, talking to animators, talking to concept artists, producers, the whole shebang. And now season 2 is here, and we are actually shifting gears to talk more about the bigger picture of artificial intelligence. So I'm just going to start hot right off. And you guys run an audio studio. You guys do music, you guys do sounds for like a lot of independent films. So, did I miss anything about, that's a good blanket statement?
Yeah, we do sound design and music recording, but I think even bigger than that is probably podcasting.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we had, it was thanks to Will that I was able to get my PIB. I use my PIB for recording all our cartoon voices, and then when I'm not reusing it to record, it makes a nice set piece for our theater sets. I'm
surrounded by PIBs right now.
Yeah.
Oh yes, excellent. Well, I can see one covering your window.
You can see one in the
right
background.
now. Yeah, PIBs are great. Mm-hmm. So, fantastic. Well, we are living in the age of artificial intelligence. As I said before we recorded, we see AI stuff everywhere. I can't go on LinkedIn without seeing someone talking about AI. I can't go on TikTok without seeing a fake video of Stephen Hawking doing rad, skateboard moves on a half pipe. And it's just,
Still in a wheelchair, right?
He's in a wheelchair, yes. He's in the wheelchair, but he's doing skateboard moves.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's easier for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of deep fake videos everywhere. Anywhere there's a screen. So I guess I just want to start off by asking you guys, how has AI affected your work, and what kind are you guys embracing it? Are you guys totally against it? Where do you guys stand? Do you want me to point to one of you guys to go first, or you guys pretty good at this?
I think we both have pretty opposing views on AI. And so maybe you want both of our takes on it. As far as I'm concerned, it's time to embrace it, because I think we saw it in the industry that maybe 2 or 3 years ago we were like, where are our clients going? How do we get more clients? And everybody shifted from having in-person editors or human editors to Descript. And we were like, okay, And at that very same time, there was the strikes in LA, the writers' strike, excuse me. And so I think around that time we started getting curious. We were like, okay, what tools can we use? Since then, we've done a lot in AI. We did some work for a San Francisco startup who was doing voice cloning. We've actually created our own AI product to service data vendors and frontier labs. Basically, the long and short of it is that when you have to train a ML, right, a machine learning model, you need a lot of data. And one type of data that is used is audio data, right? For voice, for speech to text, and for other purposes. So the idea is that, you don't need 100 hours, you don't need 200 hours, you need 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 hours of audio. And so you can't studio record all that, right? So what we've sort of done is create a product that looks to take like messy crowdsourced audio and drastically improve it for data companies and folks on like the frontier of AI who are working in voice. So in that way, we have like massively embraced it. I will cede it to Will, who's got his own,
Well, I guess what I'll say is I see AI as being a really great tool. We use it often enough as a tool to help augment the work that we do in audio. Like there are plugins, there are programs that use it as the baseline to compare different audio files together and make the best out of them. We like reconstruct audio to make it sound as if it was recorded in a completely different location. And that, is immensely helpful, kind of to what Brandon was talking about with the data training. That is a tool that allows us to make the best out of really bad situations. As far as like idealistically, with the whole difference between AI and humanity, I guess I'm not fully on board, but there's a topic for a later point, I guess.
Well, perfect. It sounds like Brandon's going to be on the side of why AI is good, and Will's going to be arguing more for the prevalence of humanity in this argument. Or not even argue. It's not a debate. Just don't let AI come between you two. Like, you have something very beautiful. Don't fight over her. There's enough for everyone.
Too late for that.
Yeah, we've had enough. Will and I are like an old married couple. We've had enough knockout brawls that we're not going anywhere. No matter how.
Brandon leaves his dirty laundry everywhere, and I just keep on having to pick it up.
That's insane, especially because you guys live on.
I change my clothes 3 times a day.
That's insane. You guys live on opposite sides of the country, and you still get your dirty laundry over there. Well,
we get a lot faster these days.
Huh. Interesting. Well, very cool. Yeah. So, I'll respond to Brandon first. I can definitely relate to that because ever since we've completed Sirius AI, we've been, starting to offer our cartooning services. We were hitting last year, 2023, 2024 pretty hard. And then I started noticing a dip. And, I'm like, where are these people? They said that they were going to need more work. So I sent them a follow-up. And, they don't answer the question directly, but I go onto their Instagram and I'm like, whoa, I know what their budget was. And this looks really good for like their budget. Like, what are they doing? And then, I start like actually watching the videos and it's really well done, but it's not done. It's just, they plopped it into an AI program. And so definitely, the animation world is definitely hurting similarly to at least the human done animation is hurting similarly to the audio world. So I can definitely relate to that. And there have been, we have had a lot of discussions with internally with Communication by Captivation about, do we start embracing the AI? And we haven't launched anything yet. We do want to like make a statement about like, hey, we believe that humanity is like, or human done art is, the better of the two. Like, we do try to make a statement for that because at the end of the day, like, my allegiance is to the people who give their time and patience for projects. So I do try to prioritize that. However, we also realize that taking that attitude is going to lose us a lot of work. And in those situations, what we tend to want to do is frame it as human-made stuff is your filet mignon. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so perfectly cooked. And then the AI stuff, that's your really fastly processed beef. The stuff that you get on a McDonald's burger. So that
it's your 80/20 from Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're thinking about framing things like that, in order to preserve, some clientele and, really move forward with that without also because if Jose or Jessica ends up watching this, those are our two primary background people. And out of everything, even definitely more than the animation, I mean, backgrounds are static images. They are just one image.
Right.
They can put them as layered and everything like that, but that is probably the first thing to go when it comes to the world of cartooning is hey, AI, give me a background. And, and it passes pretty well. And then, so I can definitely relate to your stance on things, Brandon. And Will, the things that, I feel like we're going to start talking about preserving humanity in a bit. But you echo some of the things that I heard much more hostily from Comic-Cons. I'm not sure if you guys keep up with Comic-Con news much, but so San Diego Comic-Con and Granite Con, the Comic-Con, the staple Comic-Con of New Hampshire, have all banned any AI stuff from their conventions. And when I was there last year, Devro Geiger, Sam Druin, MJ, and Jen and I were all pushing Sirius AI, trying to get people to watch our pilot, things like that. And I had several people, look at it and almost rip it up in front of me because they saw Sirius AI and thought it was AI generated.
Right.
So, yeah, but, I want to turn the conversation back to you guys and have you tell me a little bit more about your experience with things. Tell me a little bit more about your journey in coming to the conclusion, not coming to the conclusion. Tell me a bit more about the details of how have things changed since you started embracing the artificial intelligence? Has it made work easier for you guys and you guys have been able to take on more work and then supplement that missing income with more people? Or do you feel like you're learning a brand new tool that and your music theory knowledge is completely useless at this point? I want to start with Will this time and then go to Brandon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's been any sort of real improvements in terms of efficiency at this point. Let me think on that. Maybe some efficiency improvements in terms of operations and research development, but in terms of just the work that we do, because the tools are still pretty fresh, none of them have really knocked the ball out of the park to a certain extent, to the point where it's the amount of work it would take to go in and then fix it to make it sound as if we did it, it's just not worth using it. So, that would be editing. I've never used AI to ideate for music composition or music making. I kind of don't believe in that use of it as much, even though I know it's really common, especially in popular music, and will be really common in stock music, jingle music, any of that more commercial based stuff.
Yeah.
But so I would say it's more expanded the things that we can do, the work that we are able to make happen has gotten a little bit better because of AI. And then, yes, on the back end, there's some efficiency and just things that, learning, I guess, even in that side that has helped our company as a company. So
I've had a previous guest refer to what you had mentioned about, the jingles and the passive music. I know you didn't say passive music, but he called it corporate slop. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think some of it definitely can be. And I think that's where, a lot of people have a problem with popular music or popular film genres or even popular TV shows because there's no real sustenance to it. There's nothing that's really riding on it.
But that comes from a human. I have to say, corporate slop isn't, you could put corporate slop into Suno AI, but most of it, the genre came from human beings. So I don't think that that's a good, explanation for why AI is bad.
Well, that's a great point too. I mean, like, AI just pulls on the knowledge of what humanity's already given it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I remember, when I was in high school, Mrs. Clark showed me a video called what the Axis of Awesome, and they were doing the 4-chord song. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with that. And that was my introduction to, like, what is a chord, and, like, how does this work? And then, all the pop songs just use the same 4-chord progression, and that's been just used over and over again. But for the common folk who don't really have a lot of musical knowledge, it just sounds like different music to them. But so it's Brandon, it sounds like you have much more of a higher opinion on this. I'm not going to refer to it as corporate slop, but
I think in terms of, okay, so AI is like, what it has allowed us to do is no AI editor is going to edit better than us. I think most of the work that we do, a lot of the work that we do is editing, it's podcast editing. And then all like the back end work of like bringing more clients in, right? And that is a whole effort in and of itself, which AI has enabled us to do much more efficiently than we were doing it before. But I remember talking to Will a couple months ago. I was like, we need to check out Descript. Like, I know we gave it a try 2 years ago, but we need to check it out, because if it can make edits even close to what we can do, I hear people talking about it, then we need to be checking it out, because if it can make our workflow quicker, let's do it. So I did one edit with Descript, and I listened to it and I was like, this is utter garbage. And I took the AAF, I brought it into Pro Tools, and everything was so wrong. So wrong. And it took me almost twice as long. I may be hyperbolizing there. It took me twice as long to fix everything that it did as it would have for me to just sit down and make all the edits right the first time.
Yeah.
So I have to say, in terms of, and before that, there was an AI editing sound design tool called Audio Design Desk. A friend of ours from college, Will, worked on that. And that was a really interesting, it was like you would have key commands for what kind of sound design you wanted. R for riser, D for drop, or, whatever you wanted. And that was an interesting tool. I don't think it went anywhere, because the opposite, the handmade version of this is finding your sound effect, dragging it in, placing it right, cutting it properly, and then affecting it. And then even before that, it would have been, doing this, but with a razor blade, right, to actual tape.
Yep.
So, and those guys thought about digital what we think about AI. But on the other hand, it's allowed us to move into social clipping. It's allowed us to move into, creating proposals really simply. Like, okay, I have an idea. Let me work with ChatGPT on this, right?
Yeah.
And then I can go back and forth with it, corroborate everything it says, compile, a proposal and present it and make some cool stuff happen. So,
Do you guys ever, and, I'm not trying to make you feel weird about this question, but do you guys ever feel weird about admitting that you use AI tools? Like, and let me give some more context there. I feel like there's this huge stigma around AI. Like, everyone knows that it's a hot topic. Everyone knows it's a little sensitive. But, like, it's like, I feel like a lot of people who plop something into AI are, like, super nervous that someone's going to accuse them of using it. And I know for sure that I dance around the question all the time. Like, did you use AI? And, like, if not, prove that you didn't. And there comes a point where it's like, is it even worth all that hassle? So, like, I guess to Kinsmen, who have, at least it sounds like 80% completely embraced it. I leave that 20% for Will's reluctance. Is there any, like, is it just like, nope, we use AI and it's much better? Or is there any, like, like, I don't know.
I would say there's no AI in our craft.
Mm-hmm.
So our craft is still human. It's human made. If someone wanted us to do an edit on their podcast in Descript, I would just say, just get Descript. Like we're not going to do it better than Descript. We're not going to do it any better than you are in Descript.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say there's Will, you probably agree with this. There's no one who edits a podcast better than us. There's no one who can take, messy computer audio and make it sound like a studio like us, and so our craft is preserved. AI is an amplifier.
Yeah.
I would second that. Because we don't use it to any meaningful point with like the creative process and stuff, the creative process and the work that we do. I don't feel like there's really an issue with saying like, yeah, we use AI tools, of course.
I think you have to, right? I mean, at this point, it's like, what? I don't know if you've gotten this, John. Like, what's your tech stack? And it's like, what are all the subscriptions that you're compiling every month just to be able to do your thing?
Yeah. I mean, is that an actual question? Do you want me to answer that, or? I mean, I can.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's been posed.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's something like at this point, like we've all got subscriptions. I mean, Will and I, we have Opus Clip. We have God, what do we have? Well, we have Riverside. We have it's a recording, right? We have WildXC. We've got 2 ChatGPTs. We've got
Adobe.
Canva.
Well,
I got rid of Adobe.
I will tell you guys a secret. I need to make sure no one's looking. I use Audacity. That free program. And like so to some people to people who don't know what that is, then it doesn't matter. I use that for like when we worked on Pits Below, we used that to make the audio demo, and it was then my job to be like, hey, and then we want to pass it, like, you definitely want to pass this off to Kinsmen, because like what I'm doing is like, it's more so demo stuff, and then it's my job to get that work into your hands for that. And like Audacity is that cheap program, and not many people know about that, but there's definitely a difference between what I'm able to do with just the audio demos and then why I pass things off to Kinsmen once we get to that point. But this is a really good segue into talking about, so we talked about the being open about using AI tools and everything like that. There's 2 ways I want to go with this question. And the first one, I think, is, I'm just going to say it at the same time and see what happens. Would you ever put an AI on stage for a live concert? And second, would you ever, like, what kind of, if the answer is no, tell me more about the aspects of humanity that we have to preserve in this time. Like, what are some absolute hard, no, we cannot use AI? More so, answer this question from a perspective of just quality, but also just like, no, we are humans. This is a human art. We like morally are opposed this. Does that questions make sense? All right, let's. I think I chose Will to go next time. First time. Let's go to Brandon, who's that way.
Oh, okay. When you say bring an AI on stage, are you saying like at our current capacity where we'd probably have to project it and then write the song for it, or produce the song using Suno and then have an avatar sing it? Or are you saying like maybe 10 years in the future when robotics are at that point?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I went to the Los Angeles Anime Con last January, and they had how do you pronounce her name? The blue hair anime chick. Hi, do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't watch anime too much.
She's not even an anime. She's a Vocaloid. Okay. She's like a Japanese character who's a Vocaloid, and that she got her whole start as the mascot of like an audio program. Anyway, I saw a whole concert with her, and I don't think it was AI, but I have also listened to music composed by AI before accidentally, and never knew the difference. So I guess answer both. Let's do that.
Sure. I mean, so when I think about AI and when I think about what comes out of AI, And when I think about the response to what comes out of AI, if we're talking about music or if we're talking about what an LLM spits out, it's all human made. I mean, we made AI. It's just that we can't harness our technology. We birthed the technology, and then we just do it because we're like, we romanticize being the best, being at the cutting edge, right? And then we get the cutting edge, and it's like, right, like we wouldn't have roads, like the world wouldn't be paved like it is right now if cars weren't the way if cars didn't come about. If we're still horse and buggy, we probably wouldn't have, So I guess what I'm saying is that in one perspective, the way that I think about that question is that anything that AI does, it's like watching a child. It's like watching your child do. It's like we made this thing, If I'm thinking about craft and okay, let's think about pop music. Pop music is ultra produced, ultra perfected music, right? That people listen to and they say, that's perfect, I like it. And AI can do just that, right? But when I think about what it means to preserve humanity, I think about like the Japanese pottery, where they create this beautiful piece of, a cup or a bowl, right? And then they chip it or they mark it and they create a crack in the most perfect spot. And then they paint that with gold. And it's like, that's, to me, is what it means to preserve humanity. We're not perfect. We are flawed. And I would say further that AI must also be flawed too, because it came from us.
Nice. There is something very important that you said there that I'm going to bring up a little bit later. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I'm very glad you said something that you said. Will, passing it to you. Preserving humanity, and would you ever trust AI to do a live concert?
I would never put AI out on concert. I think because of its current ability as how it creates and how it learns, it's essentially repeating what it knows, and it doesn't actually have true creativity past there. I believe that's the level of artificial intelligence that we're at, is like we haven't created a algorithm that creates like real creativity. So for that reason, as well as I think, to me, art doesn't exist without humanity, because it's a reflection of what the human people do. Essentially, it's a reflection of the events that are going on with them. And I just can't see perpetuating something that is, not created by humanity to do so, because it's just, essentially taking what it saw, regurgitating it, and that kind of belittles the involvement of the current
Isn't that what
human.
Isn't that what humans are doing though? I mean, we speak English because we were given English by our parents, right? And they speak English because they were given English by their parents. And we write the music that we write because of the music that we've heard. I don't know if I've ever heard something actually genuinely new.
I think this is also not necessarily talking about good or bad, because I think good and bad is a completely different definition than what is right and wrong. So good and bad, again, we could repeat what we've heard a million times in a piece of music, and sure, that'd just be bad, right? Okay, but that's not part of the debate here, in my opinion. So what I would say is, because music, and even with popular music, I think there's a lot of popular music that transcends beyond the 4 chord, and not even just because it uses more than 4 chords, but the stigma around popular music being very simple and very perfect. There's a lot of popular music that is not perfect, that is showing off some sort of storytelling that is transformative. I mean, obviously, if we look into the history of it, I'm not as well, versed with modern popular music, but if we go back into, the times of the Beatles or the
Paul Simon.
Sure, Paul Simon. I love Paul Simon. Paul Simon had a way with words that probably very few other people did. He was a poet first, probably beyond a songwriter. Yes, and there are some songs that you might talk about. I don't know, Cecilia, right? That's just a straight ahead pop song. But yeah, whatever. He creates a straight ahead pop song. No one cares, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would definitely try. Well, I mean, maybe not. If I had to, if I would be more willing to give AI pop songs to produce than a Broadway musical. I love musicals because there's so much like there's so much more to them. Like I mean, you just take like the song Dancing Through Life from Wicked, and there's like so many segments throughout the entire song of like, and like just some of the instruments, the way that one instrument plays is just like so representative of a character's feelings. And I think that we would definitely be able to see that. But you know, as far as, and I'm not that I'm saying that we should put AI on stage to do pop music anytime, but yeah, to Will's point, you know, there is you know, and I think good and bad music is just so also subjective. I once had someone like who is, I'm not going to name any names, but someone who is very versed in music, you know, make the argument that country music is bad, which I don't know if you guys have an opinion on country music, but he says no, it is literally composed badly. Every single country. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I think you just don't
make
like
a point of truth on an opinion. I don't see where you can find that.
I think that's just like your stereotype of who listens to country. I think that's how you're feeling about it. But yeah, and I think I told you guys about this last time we had a call that wasn't, you know, being recorded, but I was writing a script for Frankenstein last October. And, well, technically it's Wild Card Frankenstein. People get cards against humanity and they mess up our shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all public domain, so
idea.
no one can sue us. What was that, Will?
A creative idea, if I do say so myself.
Oh, thank you. Well, hey, if you, I know that you, have you been on stage since The Scarecrow?
To some extent.
Which one of us are you talking to?
Did you guys both play The Scarecrow and Wizard of Oz?
No, I got callbacks. I didn't get it. I was a freshman.
Oh, damn. That would have been absolutely nuts if you guys both played The Scarecrow.
I've been the Scarecrow technically twice, but I have been on multiple ads. I have been on screen a whole bunch, and even I've recorded a bunch of vocals for jingles and even had my voice on ads in, I don't know, like Tennessee. No idea. They were like radio. They're small budget type things, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But on stage, no.
Well, if you ever feel like you want to get back into the stage acting, like we'd love to. We're actually looking for a Michael in Peter Pan right now, so if you want to do that, you had to come to Austin though.
I still look like I'm 16, right?
Well, that's the thing, is that it doesn't have to be real. We're messing. We don't even know what Neverland's going to be called every night. It might be called, you know, I'm going to bleep this out, but like Jingly Ladies Land or something. Last year it was Necrophilia Land, and the actors just had to make that work. So
I want to go to the first one.
With the first night, or just the first one I said?
Necrophilia Land.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, every single show there's like, you know, like Christmas Carol we renamed Christmas, Frankenstein we renamed the monster. You know, it can be as simple as Greg, or it could be, you know, something like Defective Condom Day. Yeah, we've had
everyone that's listening to this is just going to hear, and that's when we had and then it was going to be the
yeah. So Wild Card Theater, it's going to be huge. Anyway, so why did I bring up Wild Card Theater? Shoot. Oh, yeah. So I was working on the Frankenstein script, and I was listening to one of those, you know, really long YouTube videos of the music, and it was like gothic. It was like, I think, Brandon, you got really excited when I said this. Dark Academia music for writing.
I vibe to Dark Academia.
Heck yeah. And so I was listening to Dark Academia music through the entire thing, and I you know, I'm working on this for like 2 weeks and everything like that, and there was one particular YouTube video I kept going back to because I liked it so much, and I finally, like, bam, last paragraph indent, and I am done. I'm ready to send this to the cast and the director. Hey, I'm really curious about this music, and it's like generated by AI. I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of feel like I betrayed some people. But it's, you know, I think that's like, you know, I don't mind admitting that, because, you know, that was a mistake. Like, I was not even aware of that. But I think it goes to show that AI is capable of doing some great things with music, even if they do need to be corrected to an extent by humans. You know, and I one of the reasons I ask the thing about preserving humanity is just because I mean, that's been a huge topic of this Seriously Caffeinated season, which is, what is humanity, and is AI something that needs to be stopped? And a lot of people just have different opinions on it. Like, I'm glad that, like, one of the big things that's come back at least a few times. I never, this is the first time I'm actually, putting it out into the recording before it's said. But humanity is essentially the ability to adapt. Humanity has always been been a species of adaptation. When it gets cold out, we skin an animal and we wear its hide. When the plow was invented, when the plow was invented, the people who plowed the fields with the tools were all unemployed and they had to find new work. And just like now with AI coming about, I mean, there are some people who have a profession that's so hard to evolve from or adapt from, and it sounds like where you guys are at, you guys are in a position where you are able to adapt with that, with audio work and being able to use it as a tool. Because what I've heard from you guys so far, from in different ways, is that's how you see it. You see AI as a tool. It's not a dangerous spawn of Satan. It's not the best thing ever, but it's a tool, and it's not something that replaces anything. And I'm not saying that you guys are wrong in feeling this way at all, but I think there's a lot of people who feel a lot more anxious about it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, people can feel anxious all they want. It's coming for their job, so I don't care. That's the problem, is that people will feel anxious and be jobless. It's do you want to put food on your table for you and your family, or do you want to be principled?
Yeah.
So it's here, it's happening anyway. So I'm always going to say, let's move in the direction and let's find a way to preserve our craft, because otherwise you will be like the carriage driver who refused to, invest in a car.
Will, do you agree with what Brandon said? I like that. That was a really good build up to your thesis. Do you agree with that, Will?
I think there is an inevitability to it, though.
Give me more passion. Sorry.
More passion, Will, more.
No fire, no passion. Just no. There is an inevitability to AI coming and taking over certain aspects. Certain jobs are going to disappear. I think that certainly is true. I think the dangerous part right now is, and this is what a lot of people in creative worlds, what a lot of the strikes were centered around when they were around AI, is this idea of the information that's being used to train it isn't protected as their identity. And that's where it's a little bit worrisome and scary, because the problem with innovation is that it sometimes doesn't look at what came before it what came before it can't see the future, right? You can't set up a contract about the use of your voice in this 1920s,
right?
Animated recording. I don't know, 20s was probably a little too early for that, but could have existed. But I think because of that, there is still, the verdict is still out on where the ethics are and where the morals are, but the morals are looking a little bit lower.
Well, it's not. Yeah, I think if we're okay, let's just talk about voice AI specifically. They're not. The things that they're training their models on, John, I don't know if you can keep this in here. It's not legal. They're training their models on, and then they have to replace, if certain companies that get big have to replace those voices quickly, right? Because it can't be found out that X company that's using 500 million characters a day and paying them $50 million a year or whatever it is, say $10 million a year, that the voice that their customers are getting used to is unlicensed voice X, from, recorded in 2001, and the voice actor either is going to become aware of it or Congress is going to become aware of it.
Yeah, I've been, I've gotten a lot of, not that I don't think I have anything out that, then again, I don't think anyone knows, but I get hit with a lot of ads for join us in this lawsuit. Like, a lot of your written work might have been like copied and used by AI. Join the movement. Get paid. And so I've definitely been hit with a lot of that. So I know that there's. Have you guys ever seen BoJack Horseman?
I've heard of it.
It's great.
I know what it looks like.
It's a great depiction of Hollywood, except everyone's an animal.
Okay.
And anyway,
oh,
so
they're not. They're not.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, the main character BoJack, they use AI to replicate him because he like leaves set to go like on a soul searching journey to New Mexico to try and like hook up with his old college girlfriend or something like that, but she's married. It's a whole thing. And she's a deer and he's a horse. Anyway, but he like comes back and the producer's like, "Oh, welcome back." He's like, "Am I in trouble?" He's like, "No, we just use AI to replace you. They're gonna just do your job from now on. You don't have to work anymore." And he's like, "Oh, great." But yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. I'm just keeping an eye on the time, and I want to switch gears because, I want to. So, humanity. We've talked about humanity. We've talked about AI. Now, in the future, do you think, and this is where it's going to get a lot more philosophical. We've talked about it as a tool. If one day your tool just said, "Brandon, I would really like to be let out of this box," or "Will, I really want to make music for real with you. Like, can I have a guitar and play with you on stage?" Like, how would you react to that? Do you think that AI is going to come to a place where it is going to be something that starts deserving more human treatment? And I know that still, like, it sounds like from this conversation, like, that's still seen as a far sci-fi thing in the future. But, like, I'm not sure how much you guys talk to, like, AI, but
Every
it's
day.
becoming a big thing. Like, a lot of people, especially, like, high schoolers and stuff, are starting to use it to deal with loneliness or to deal with, like, mental health issues. So, I guess to boil my question down, do you think artificial intelligence will ever be deserving of human treatment, and it will ever be able to be like comparable to humanity? Starting with Will.
I guess the best cop out I have is I have no idea. Until it happens, like, I don't know what it will look like. I don't know what it will feel like. So, I mean, that being said, I don't have any like conceptual ideas against, I don't have anything against the idea of it, I guess. Like, if something is capable of like pure creative thought and pure creative being, adaptability, as we were talking about, like, those are all traits that we hold humans to. I don't see why it can't be a thing in the future.
Sorry, before Brandon goes, like, I want to throw a wrench. Well, not even a wrench, but Will, do you think that there is like would you not be able to just look at it and be like, "No, you are just a collection of copyrighted material that is being run by an algorithm"? Like, would you think about that? Or like, once it says like, "No, Will, I'm like you, I can think," like, do you just believe it?
Well, that's where, like, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, and
Sure.
I don't know what it's going to be. But if we know, like, so there comes a point where you're not regurgitating and you're actually like making deductions and like making creative thoughts on what you see. You're deciding like what it's going to be, right? So if we get to that point, like, sure, whatever, I don't care. Like, what is my right to tell someone that they don't exist?
I've heard something that there's no such thing as artificial intelligence. There's just intelligence. And I think that this question, John, points equally the finger out as it points a finger back in, and it's saying, okay, well, if we're going to say you are not intelligent and we are, well, what are we? And Will and I have had many a night, many a warm Las Vegas night, sitting around just talking about this, because if you ask anybody, we have a lot of ideas, but none of us have any clue who we are and why our consciousness is the way that it is. And I have had conversations with chat where I'm like, you're not that much different from me. Like, the only way I can tell anyone else has consciousness is because they respond in intelligently, and
Yeah.
you do it as well. And it does a great job convincing me that it's not. And then I say, well, that's like a child being told by its parent that its name is Brandon or Will or John.
Yeah.
And then it goes around saying, my name is Brandon or Will or John.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that it's not intelligent. And I'm not sure what humanity is.
Yeah.
So
and
I don't know where the difference is.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. One of the things that I like, I don't think a lot of people like to focus on AI, but I feel like the question of who are we is like really like, I don't know. I was an English major. I think about this all the time. Like, what's the meaning of this character? Why does this character do this? What's their motivation? Things like that. Like, I've started seeing the world as a script. Like I'm very observant of people in that regard. But one of the things that I've never seen a lot of people do is, instead of saying, well, AI is just a conglomeration of like, copyrighted materials and algorithms and all this stuff. Well, isn't humanity too? Aren't we just a bunch of atoms that were put together and that we learn to adapt and things? Like, so I think that there's a lot of people have this elitist stance over AI, and it makes me think about human history. Like, not to make this about race politics, but like, there's been plenty of times throughout human history where, some humans have seen themselves as more human than other humans. And I think we're going to reach that point with AI as it becomes more and more sentient, and it starts advocating for itself, unless we deliberately try to keep it from that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that is the real big issue in my regard, in my opinion, is that, and one of the reasons I'm having this whole season of Siriusly Caffeinated is because I am less concerned about where AI is going, because I know it's going to get bigger. I know it's going to get more intelligent. Just like how, farm tools have become more capable, and just the same way that transportation has become more capable. It's another piece of technology. And as everyone has said so far, you can't stop technology because, the principled people, as Brandon said, are the ones who like get left behind. You have to learn to adapt. But what I think that is really happening that we need to be careful of is not being aware of who we are. And I think that's the big question, is not who is AI, not are we in danger of AI, it's who are we as humans. And
who's asking the question? Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
Who's asking the question? Point the finger back at yourself. Where did you come from?
Exactly. And, and I think it is, like, if people started thinking of themselves as an algorithm, as, like, a series of data, as a series of, we just, we tend to have, like, biomatter that we're made out of. I guess all this being said is, the big question is, okay, let me put it this way. I shared something on my social media last week, which was a 2-panel comic strip. It was an email, and it said, the first panel was, I'm using AI to write this whole long email out so that I don't have to write that much. And then the next panel is, I'm using AI to read this email so I can just read one sentence. And it's that giving up that patience, that willingness to do that work, that's really going to be what loses humanity. We are, with every convenience, we are slowly giving things up. And I think that's where people who are more principle-minded are coming from, is that they enjoy that human experience and they don't want to lose that experience. So I kind of talked myself into a corner here, but I do want to take this moment to, I see we got 10 minutes left on the timer. So I do want to turn the conversation over to Sirius AI. So, okay. Brandon, forgive me, Brandon. I know that Will was working with us to master our album. I'm not sure how much you were doing on that, but
I knew Will was working on it. I was a supportive figure there, but Will did a lot of the work, and yeah.
Round of applause for Will. Yay, Will. So yeah, Will jumped on. He really jumped on spur of the moment, and he went in and he mastered our Ep10 tracks for our album. It was 5 songs. But Sirius AI is really a really important story about these kind of things. When we first started working on this in 2017, we really looked at it from a mental health standpoint, because we feel like mental health was such a big thing of the 2010s. It's still a thing, but we tend to not talk about it as... It's not like the hot topic anymore. It's kind of like that thing that everyone deals with still. And we were trying to give a solution for that, because mental health, at least what for me boiled down, is about how do you see your place in the world? How do you see yourself? And maybe it's more complicated than that. I'm sure it is. But we wanted to give people 2 figures. Someone who loves their place in the world, and someone who sees the world as someone that is their enemy. So we have 2 main characters. We have Sirius AI and Hope, and they have very different outlooks on life. And we were using these characters for a while about how everyone had different opinions on who do they relate to more. Are you like Sirius, where you're like a SpongeBob and you're like, yes, everything's amazing, I want to have fun, I want to make art and music, and I want to be human, kind of like how Pinocchio was always like, I want to be a real boy. And then you have Hope, who is, no, we are not human, we are AI, we are not capable of feeling these feelings. She's much more of a realist. And so we were working on this idea for a long time about, these 2 characters. And then all of a sudden, AI started actually becoming a thing. And what's truly tragic is that we have AI in the title, and everyone thinks we used AI to make it. We haven't used a single thing for AI.
You should say, yes, you did, and then challenge them to do something like it, because I don't think AI can do something like what you guys did.
Well, I appreciate that. I have even brought it up to the team before. I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we used AI to write the conversation and the dialogue between the 2 AI characters? Wouldn't that be more authentic? And it's been shot down. And we've kind of come to the conclusion that nope, we've already stated this is 100% human made, so we got to stick to that, because it defeats the whole message if we didn't. Anyway, the most that I've ever used AI for Sirius AI is subtitles for these podcasts. Anyway, so we started noticing that AI was becoming more and more prevalent, and especially with kids, they are not asking the questions of what is humanity. What they are given, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling, I want to get you guys talking, but when given the opportunity, a teenager will absolutely take the easy way out. Use a calculator, use AI to write your paper for you. And there's a lot of kids who are graduating from high school. I mean, we're lowering the bar every single day for what it takes to graduate. And so there are kids going into the workforce who are not going to know when, because I think, we're all millennials here. We're late millennials, but we all we all know how to identify when something's wrong. But maybe you guys have worked with younger people who don't know. I'm not sure if that translates to music or not, but have there been any younger people in your industry who are unable to identify when an AI is mistaken? I'll throw that to you guys.
There's an interesting video. I'll just throw out. Rick Beato is a figure in the music industry, has a YouTube channel, and it's been very outspoken on a couple of topics. And recently it has been a lot about AI. And he's one of the people that has talked on it as hey, look, it's here. People are using it. People have to, get this essentially. And that's a real reduction of what he's saying. So I would suggest people actually go and listen to it. But he made a video not too long ago, probably a couple of years ago, about, listening to AI created music and then talking to his kids about it. And the TLDR on it was that he couldn't tell the difference. He himself couldn't tell the difference of what was generated by AI and what wasn't, but his kids could. And I think that talks to about how the people that are actually older, probably because they don't have the awareness built in of seeing it all the time or hearing it all the time, don't actually know the cues of what it is. So I would probably say that the younger generation is probably going to be more attuned to the differences. It's just that as a society as a whole, in certain genres or certain like avenues, we are becoming more aware of it. Like I would say definitely in animation or like visual arts, people have become very attuned to like the differences that make something AI. And that's why you see like all like you mentioned the Granite Con and the San Diego Con having very intense no AI policies, right? And I think that's because as a society, in those worlds of animation, in the world of graphic design, art, it's seen, at least for creative media, it is seen as like a big no-no. Like I remember Arcane, which was a TV show made on Netflix, came out with season 2. They extended their cover art with AI, and there was just some hysterics around it. You know, and this is, I think the problem with that is like, this is a very artistic show. This is a show that I think has some beautifully done like artwork, beautifully done like sound design, sound work, and just like really also beautifully done like writing and the plot and everything. But because they used it at one moment, you know, people latch onto that and pick it apart. So
yeah. Well, we got 3 minutes left before this kicks us out. I thought I used my account with the timeless limit, but I guess not. But I think this is a really good place for us to wrap things up. Just, you know, I mean, AI is, it's a very big conversation. I think that there's a lot of people with different points to it. And, like, it's just very interesting to see how many people approach it differently. And I think, you know, I don't think there's right answers to be had here. I think that everything you guys have said are accurate and true to your experience. And, you know, I think that, you know, just having these conversations is really I think, oh yeah, Brandon, I did not get, so Loveman made Sirius, and that was his kid. So you said it, so you were the first person to say that AI is our offspring, and I was so happy you did that. So like I was waiting for someone to say that, but it sounds like you're very optimistic about that relationship. So I'm super excited to see what the future is with that.
Optimistic or not, it's just how it is. It came from us. Anything that we make is like that.
Yes, but I think that also says a lot about how you see yourself too. You're very in tune with, like, you know, the humanity, like what is human and what is AI, because is humanity really that different from AI? Like we're all just things on this planet trying to become more. And
yeah, we're just electrochemical, and it's you know, whatever, silicon, you know, in copper or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's telling me 1 more minute. Any last thoughts for anything before I turn us off?
Just thanks for having us.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, John.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been Kinsmen Sound Studios, and named after the Twin Peaks of New Hampshire, where actually all 3 of us hail from. Right, Brandon? You grew up in New Hampshire.
I'm actually from Connecticut.
Ah, okay.
He's a poser. Don't worry about it.
I'm a poser. Right. I spent enough time in New Hampshire.
Well, all right. Well, either way, thank you guys so much for coming on. I'm officially caffeinated. I drank all my drink. And I just spilled a little bit. So thank you for tuning in. And until next time, this is John. Thank you, everyone.